David Letterman is facing some heat right now after some of his interviews are resurfacing, showing him being inappropriate towards some of his female guests, and now some celebrities are speaking out about it. I'm your host for this one, Joss Bedard. Thanks for checking out Top 10 Beyond the Screen. Today I have a list of 10 celebrities who tried to warn us about David Letterman. Let's get into it. Starting off our list, number 10 is Paris Hilton. She got vulnerable and real with the world when she shared her 2020 documentary called This Is Paris. In her documentary, she opened up about the industry and different incidents where she felt belittled during interviews by other men in the industry. You can imagine who was one of them. One video clip began to resurface online showing David Letterman nagging her about the time that she spent behind bars in jail, which actually happened years before her interview. He kept making very insensitive jokes about it, and even after she kept asking him to stop, he wouldn't. In 2020, she talked about it and said he was purposely trying to humiliate her, and also called out that he's done that to other women in the industry. She also revealed that he agreed to not speak about jail before the interview, and that is why she agreed to do it in the first place. She now advocates for other women and wanted the world to see how wrong it was for him to behave like that. Up next, number 9, we have Janet Jackson. Another disturbing clip has resurfaced showing the talk show host pressuring the female artist to discuss something that she was clearly uncomfortable with. Back in 2004, he sat down with Janet Jackson and instantly brought up the topic of her wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl, which we can all remember. He was referencing her performance with Justin Timberlake, where her bare breast was accidentally flashed to the audience and the whole world who was obviously watching. As he cracks jokes and asks questions about it, she just keeps shaking her head and says that she does not want to relive any of that because it was embarrassing enough. She even asks to talk about something else and looks at the audience for help, literally telling them to ask her about something different. After the video clip went viral again, Janet went on Twitter to thank her fans and said, I quote, well, a Twitter quote, "Thank you for acknowledging that what happened to me all those years ago was so messed up." Girl, we got you. It is messed up. Cruising into number 8 is Lindsay Lohan. After one video clip resurfaced and went viral, more and more just kept coming up, which showed David Letterman treating female artists poorly. An interview clip from 2013 with Lindsay was next to go viral on TikTok and Twitter, where people called David out for forcing himself on her personal life. She was originally asked to come on the show to promote her upcoming movie at the time, and the first thing he asks is, "Aren't you supposed to be in rehab?" She tried to answer him respectfully, but he continued to make a joke out of the subject, and eventually she said that she was not here to talk about that and was here to talk about her movie. Apparently, he agreed pre-interview that rehab would not be discussed. Even the producer, Frank Costa, spoke up about it recently and said, "This is vile on so many levels. This misogyny, the blindsiding, the hypocrisy of wanting people to recover but then judging them with how they choose to do so." But Letterman has not apologized as of now. Up next, number 7 is Cher. Back in 1986, she decided to go on David's show, but this was after she said no when she was initially invited. Once she changed her mind later on and decided to go on, she talked to the talk show host about why she didn't want to be there at first. She was blunt, like she usually is, and called him an asshole. She explained and said that he has the position of power to treat his guests however he wants, and that can go both ways with him. She explained and said that he can be very kind and funny towards some of his guests, but then other times he can be very cruel towards them. So literally, she tried to warn some of us about him. Like literally, she was the first person to call him out for this, long before it even started happening. However, since then, Cher and David have patched things up and have become friends, but I think that's because she put him in his place, like from the start, so he could never mess with her. Making her way into number 6 is Uma Thurman. It's hard to say whether or not she felt uncomfortable at the time, as she did a very good job at smiling and laughing things off. But when she was just 25 years old, she went on David's show to talk about her upcoming movie. He was 48 years old at the time, and throughout the interview, he kept hitting on her and making comments about them getting together. He asked her if she dated anyone older, and then asked if she would date someone who is 48, referring to himself. He continues to awkwardly compliment her throughout the interview, and it's a little bit much. It's one thing to tell your guests they look nice, and it's another to continuously talk about their looks and ask if they would date you. Like, ugh, it's creepy. Halfway through our list, number 5 is Mariah Carey. The singer went on his show back in 2001 to promote a special called Home for the Holidays. The interview started out normal, but then David made some comments that just didn't sit well with some people who have now looked back on this video. Midway through the interview, he turned the interview into focusing more on her rather than the work she was there to promote, which is like a pattern on this list. He randomly said, I quote, "What do you do when you want to have fun and stuff? Because you look like a girl who likes to have fun." She answered by saying swimming and went on to share that she has plans to go skiing over the holidays. He then told her he liked her outfit that she was wearing now, which was a tiny dress, and asked if she skied in that. I think we're just seeing a pattern here that he often comments on their appearances rather than the work that they are there to promote. Like, he's more invested on like their outfits and like how pretty they are. Like, ask me about my work, dude. The world knows I'm pretty. Not me, I'm talking about like Mariah Carey. In spot number 4 is Madonna. Similar to Cher, she has the type of personality where she says it like it is, she says what she is thinking, and she does not hold back. She stirred up some controversy on the David Letterman show back in 1994. During her appearance on the show, she said the F word 14 times, and one of them was directed at David. As soon as Madonna joined him on stage for the interview, he urged her to kiss a man in the audience. When she refused, he continued to suggest it, and at first she was like laughing it off, but then she just got sick of it. She ended up calling him a sick and said, "Why are you so obsessed with my sex life?" That is never a question that you should have to ask a talk show host. If you have to ask that question, that just means that they are bringing up that type of subject more than they should be. Like, that's personal. Ugh, weird. In our 3rd spot is Gwen Stefani. The singer was brought on his talk show to talk about her new music, her clothing line, and her marriage to Gavin Rossdale at the time. There was plenty to discuss when she visited, but for some reason, all he could talk about was her body and her good looks. Somehow, he kept turning the conversation into the topic of her appearance, telling her that she looks tremendous and saying that she smells great too. She even tried to get back on track and discuss the process that went into her latest record. While she was explaining, he cut her off and said, "You have tremendous legs," pointing to her legs, which were bare since she was in little shorts. The camera even zoomed in on her legs when he said that, which just made the whole thing even more uncomfortable. What if she was in a skirt? Rolling into number 2 is Jessica Alba. By this point in the video, you've probably noticed a pattern with our list that the majority of his inappropriate interviews comes from him commenting on female guests' looks or bodies. Jessica Alba was just another one on the list who was faced with this uncomfortable situation. Like many of his other female guests, he welcomed her on stage by telling her she looked fantastic and that she smelled even better. The actress was invited on the show to promote her movie Honey and was discussing what it was like to film some of the dance scenes. One in particular stood out because she said she had to wear a tiny little outfit and it made her uncomfortable. Letterman followed up by asking her, how tiny was it? Where was it tiny? Another unnecessary comment that just did not need to be said. Like, where is it tiny? How tiny? What? Like, I said it was a tiny outfit. We get it. Earning our number 1 spot is Jennifer Aniston. This is being recognized as one of the worst examples of Letterman crossing the line with one of his guests. A video recently resurfaced and went viral showing him getting very close to Jennifer from behind and then sucking on a piece of her hair. The interview started out normal, but then he requested to know if she was naked during her anecdote about meeting fans in a steam room. Then later on in the interview, he randomly said, "Forgive me if this is rude, I just want to try one thing." He scooted his chair behind her, placed his hand on her shoulder, and put a piece of hair by her face inside his mouth. She actually screamed a little bit, looking extremely confused as to what was going on. He then handed her a napkin to dry her hair and said, "I'm sorry, something to do with the steam room." He actually joked saying they would edit out that moment, and Jen said that she was traumatized by what just happened. So maybe it's a good thing they didn't edit it out, because now this is all coming to light because of these clips. Alright guys, that's our top 10 list. I'm gonna end this video with some comment shoutouts from some of our other videos. MLG Gamer says, "Is that a new hairstyle? She is looking different today. I like it." I don't know. I feel like I just try to do different things to my hair, but who knows? Beezer says, "Joss looks like Marianne from Gilligan's Island." I actually had to look this up because I didn't know who it was, and I kind of see it a little bit. Ryan March says, "A big part of me feels like Gabby Hanna might be using all this publicity to get attention. Maybe I'm just bitter/jaded, but I don't trust any of these people, especially her. Sorry, not sorry." Don't be sorry. I don't trust any influencers because we know that people do it for clout and for PR stunts and things like that. So I got you. Alright guys, that is all I got. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss another one. And thank you for bearing with us while we film at home in another lockdown. God bless. As always, Joss Bedard. I will see you next time. Bye. Welcome to filming from home. Back in 2004, she sat down with him. Oh my God. I feel like I'm going to zoom this in a little more. Maybe. Oh, sorry, editor. I'm just taking a break because I'm sitting on my feet.